Welcome to another edition of Hanging with the Howards. I'm Brian, joined alongside my beautiful, gorgeous, talented, and traveling wife. That's right, Tisha. Uh, uh,
Hello.
that's right. We're back for yet another edition, and again, we want to thank our loyal followers, listeners,
Yes.
everybody for catching our podcast, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And again, uh, interaction. We have, and speaking of interaction, okay, question of the day. And before we get into this particular episode, and we need your help. I need your help, okay, because this is very important. Okay,
Not really, but it is to him.
this is important. Is it McDonald's or McDonald's? McDonald's, McDonald's. We want to hear from you. I personally say McDonald's.
I say McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, you don't say McNuggets. But anyways, I digress. Leave your comments, feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
gonna
leave
get
it to the
me.
people.
I'm
We'll
gonna
leave
go
it to
get
the
me a
people.
McFlurry, not a McFlurry. So anyway, I digress. But anyways, again, thank you for joining us. This week we're going to have a little bit of a traveling tale over the last week and a half, and the Magic City Classic. We just returned back from wonderful Birmingham, Alabama,
Mhm.
Legion Field, and I'm surprised we even got back because the maze and the traffic in Birmingham. Uh,
Crazy.
yeah, they don't let you drive in Birmingham. They don't like taking left turns and closing down. They love closing down streets, by the way, closing
Definitely.
them down. But anyways, Tish, you actually had a lot of traveling. Normally it's me, but you actually had a lot of traveling this time
Yes. I had a lot of traveling. And I think on the last episode, we talked about me going to Pine Bluff for some of their homecoming festivities. So basically, the week or so leading up,
around. Hold on, you went to Ratchet City,
I went to Pine Bluff,
Pine Bluff,
whatever you want to call it.
Ratchet City.
That's
Yeah,
where I was.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, go right ahead. I'm sorry. So sorry to interrupt.
So the week leading up to the trip, I on the phone, and I may have talked about this on the last episode. But anyway, this is catch up. On the the week leading up to the trip, my I was on the phone with my daughter, and she was telling me that she was going to be in a Greek show. And she was like, Mom, you're coming to see my first Greek show, right? And I said, well, um, I had kind of planned on going to Birmingham that weekend for the Magic City Classic.
Magic.
And she basically, says like, and like, what does that have to do with you? So basically, she was letting me know that I didn't have to go to
She,
Birmingham.
she didn't.
And she was basically like expecting me, to come on Pine Bluff. So I sat there for like a day or so, and I was like, "Dang, how can I make both of these things happen? What can I do? How can I make it possible to do both?"
Can I interject for a second?
The way you're looking, I don't know.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, and I've said from the get go that you should have just made one trip, and that would have been to go see our daughter in the step show, right?
He was trying to keep me from going to Birmingham for some reason, so that's why I was
Yeah, so I
determined
can hang out with my side chicks.
Exactly. That's why
I
I was
mean,
determined to go. He
who's
was,
gonna lie?
hey,
I mean, anyway,
yeah. So anyway, I knew I had to make this work. So I'm sitting there and I started looking up flights, and it was like I had to plan it right. So I had to get to Pine Bluff, hit to Little Rock in time enough to drive over to Pine Bluff. But then I had to find a flight to get me back to Birmingham early enough to get back to the field before everything got started.
absolutely.
And it was literally only one flight that did that, and that was through Delta. So Delta, I appreciate you because it was the only
And they were on
flight.
time.
Yes,
That's surprising.
everything was on time, thank God, because it would have been a disaster if it wouldn't have been. So anyway, I booked a flight. So the week of the Magic City Classic,
Week of the Magic City Classic.
you leave
Absolutely. So
Wednesday.
yeah. So let me explain my week. So uh, Monday, Tuesday in the office. Wednesday, I immediately dart to Birmingham for the Magic City Classic press conference. Certainly enjoy that time. I'm sorry, it's the McDonald's Magic City Classic presented by our good friends right here at Coca Cola, and I expect a check from Coca Cola.
You're right. Okay.
Anyways, so that's kind of my week, and then I jump right into meetings on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday being the luncheon, team luncheon. Thursday was the kickoff luncheon, and then obviously Saturday the game. So I have a lot of activities, a lot of moving pieces and parts throughout the week. But you certainly had probably the busier slate than I did.
So I booked my flight. So I drive down to Birmingham Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, and I had booked a 7:30 flight to Little Rock, so I could get to Little Rock around noon or so. So we're getting ready to go to dinner. So we go to the desk. I have this all planned out in my head. Okay, now the on the website, the airport, the hotel said it has an airport shuttle.
I'm glad you're telling this story.
So I'm like, okay, so this is perfect. So I can go down. Let's go down here. I'm going to arrange for my shuttle to the airport tomorrow because I've got to leave at like 5 or 5:30. We get to the desk, and asked the young lady. I was like, hey, how can I arrange a shuttle to the airport? So she basically tells me that the shuttle is only for like airline employees. So that's not what it says on the website. So Weston, y'all might need to make some corrections because you're misleading people. Anyway, so she basically
Facts.
say that it's just for like airline employees. So I said, okay, so I guess I'll just have to Uber. Just catch an Uber then I guess to the airport. She was like, Uber? No, Uber don't really come to this hotel because they kind of don't. They get their directions mixed up or something to that effect. Basically, she said that Uber does not come to the Westin
Which is
hotel.
mind-boggling, by the way. It's the Westin, but
Mhm.
it is Birmingham, so let's just put that on.
Yeah, and it's not hard to find. It's not hard to pull up to. But anyway, and you tried it at the restaurant, and you couldn't book an Uber.
Yeah, you couldn't book an Uber. And granted, you were leaving at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it was a 5. Yeah.
But you couldn't book an Uber. But what was great is obviously I have Uber and Lyft on my phone, and you were able to obviously get that next best service, which provides you quality service at that, which was Lyft.
Yes, Lyft was wonderful. As a matter of fact, the guy came there like probably 10 minutes early. I wasn't
He was
even
definitely 10 minutes
ready, but
early.
I was barely ready. But Lyft was wonderful. So I called a Lyft to the airport, made it to Little Rock, made it to Pine Bluff around 3, stayed there. I really hate to put the school on blast, but I'm going to tell this because I was kind of upset.
Hold on. Before you do that, can I just say the school is not UAPB, it's UARC. That's
Stop
University of
it.
Arkansas
Anyway, I
Ratchet
thought you were
City.
interrupting me
But
for a real
anyways, go
reason.
ahead.
Anyway, so when our daughter goes to school there, so
You trying to say it's your daughter.
you have,
It's your daughter.
have to, you have to lay off a little bit. That's her alma mater.
Bless her
Anyway,
heart.
get to Pine Bluff. Okay, so the Greek show is supposed to start at 6.
Group show at 6. Okay.
Doors open at 5.
Gotcha.
I went over there. My daughter had to be there at 4 so they can get ready and everything. So there were people outside selling stuff. So I was like, okay, well, it's just an hour. So I'll just stand out here and kind of look around or whatever until the doors open at 5. Well, Needless to say, 5 o'clock came and went. 5:30 came and went. So keep in mind, I'm standing up all this time now. Now I'm not old, but I ain't the youngest anymore. So here I am standing up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. About 5:30 or so, we realized the reason why we're not getting in is because the security is there, but they don't have the ones, the security ones. Almost 6 o'clock, a lady comes in with the security one. So keep in mind, it's supposed to start at 6. The doors didn't actually open until 6. Of course, I was the first person in line. I was like, I ain't gonna let these kids break in front of me. I've been here 2 hours. No, I'm standing right here. So the doors open at 6. So then they have to allow another hour for people to come in. So now we're pushed back to 7 o'clock. So we're starting. It started at like 7:10.
Can I interject for a second?
Don't say
No, I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say what you would normally say. Well, they better get it together, right?
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
in this case, Dexter Williams would know exactly what I would say. I can't say it here, but Dexter Williams would actually know what I would say about these particular things. Go ahead.
Okay. Needless to say, I get into the Greek show. I'm basically like falling asleep, waiting for this thing to start. Luckily they go first, so I was really, I could pay attention. I kind of started dozing off a little bit between acts or whatever. But everything went well. They performed very well. Actually, matter of fact, all of the groups, did very well. Left. It wasn't over until like 10. Okay, keep in mind I gotta catch a flight back to Birmingham the next morning. So it's 10 o'clock before they get done. I go over to my daughter's room for about an hour or so, freshen up a little bit, leave Palm Bluff at 11. By that time, it's too late for me to go anywhere else because I've got to be back at the airport by 4 o'clock because I ran a vehicle. I had to be back by 4 o'clock because my plane left at 5:30. So I decided it was too far to go to Arkadelphia. That's an hour and a half. It was another probably 30, 45 minutes to Conway. So I basically just pulled up my rental vehicle where it's supposed to be, and that's where I slept for like 3 hours. I
That's
just
not
slept
hard
at
to
the
do.
airport, but I didn't really sleep because I was paranoid that somebody was gonna come up to the window, which a guy did come up to the window right as I was waking up. It wasn't the butcher,
Okay.
luckily, but he did pull on the door. Luckily, I literally woke up like a minute before he pulled on the door. So get to I'm at the airport, so I'm sleeping at the airport in my rental vehicle. Get back in the airport, get to Birmingham, leave for Birmingham at 5:30, get back to Birmingham at like 9:40 ish. Caught another lift, which was wonderful because she literally dropped me off like right at the front, right at the entrance. So lift, I have no complaints with lift.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5-star service.
Yes.
They owe you a check for that publicity. Like that.
Well, hey, there it was good service. I really did appreciate the drivers. They got me where I needed to be. So yeah, basically within I was in Arkansas for let me see, like noon for about 17 hours. I was in Arkansas. I landed at noon Friday and I left at 5:30 Saturday morning. So
Yeah, and
exhausted, but worth it.
so we can kind of tail end this particular story. So when she is flying back to the wonderful state of Alabama, not to be confused with Forrest Gump, but Alabama. So she's flying back. I'm up super early because, in case you don't know, and you live not in the state of Alabama, the Magic City Classic has a parade from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And if you do not get close to the footprint of the by 7 o'clock in the morning, you probably aren't going to get to the stadium. It's just that especially the park. It's just that type of way. So I was up super early, 6:15. My assistant, bless her heart, she texted me at 6:30 in the morning saying she wasn't going to be on time. Which the idea was for her to get there by 6:30. So here I am. I'm leaving the hotel about 6:40. I get to the stadium. I mean, traffic is already bad on the way to the stadium. I go to the same spot I went the year before. Take a left. I have the only parking pass that athletics got. Communications, right? The only Magic City Classic did not provide parking passes to plenty of people, including my assistant. So I was at the stadium. I literally pulled in before 7 a.m., got out of my vehicle, and I was actually in the press box at 7 o'clock. Now the funny part was is there was a gate open, and I literally walked straight in.
Luckily.
Straight in.
Last
Right.
year it was like 3 hours before.
Oh, it was terrible last year. Last year was terrible, right? Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
At least this year I knew, and want to thank Travis Jerome for kind of giving me the little cheat sheet how to get in. But it was our home game, so obviously I'm up in the press box, and then I'm sitting there, I'm waiting on my assistant, I'm waiting for you, and and I had two of my students, freshmen, make it into the press box before any of you guys, which was funny. But I'm thinking you would beat my assistant would beat you, but that wasn't the case. She drove around for 2 hours trying to find parking. Meanwhile, tell a little bit about how your adventure was trying to get to the press box.
Okay, well, like I said, my Lyft driver dropped me off right in front of the stadium, which was great. So I had my, credential. I had everything I needed, and but I noticed everything was still locked because I got there like what 10,
It was like 10 something. 10.
right after 10 or so, 10:15. And so I happened to see some workers, and they were like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I'm trying to get up to the press box," and they're like, "Oh, we're not open yet." So, you know, that's why you can't get in because we're not open. And so, I had to pull the Mr. Howard card, you know. So I said, well, my husband is Brian Howard, so he's up there. And then I almost, kind of got nervous because she was like, huh? How did he get up there? It's not even supposed to be open yet. What is he doing up there? And I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I just know he's there. He's up there. So she called the lady who luckily, knew who he was and everything. So she told her to bring me on up. But they were like complaining the whole time. And then she was like, where are you going? And I said, well, the credential says level 2. We're at on level 2. What box are you in? I was like, I'm going to the press box on level 2. And she just did not understand what I was talking about. So I had to call Brian again, and he was just like telling you with the Alabama A&M athletics. And so I told her that, and she was like, "Oh, okay, now I know." But it's only one press box, right?
Yeah, so there's one press box and then the rest are suites and but press box.
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
like,
media
what suite
hub.
are you going to? I said, it's not a suite, it's a press box.
Right.
So,
Um
yeah, it was a little nerve wracking for a few minutes, but I couldn't argue because I was trying to get up there. So I had to be, you know, nice and sweet.
Absolutely. And you were up there and then finally my assistant who had been driving around for 2 hours to find a place to park, literally circling the entire stadium at this point. She finally makes it and now we're at the point of kickoff and but it was wonderful. Win or lose. I often say because I'm part of the media, you have to be. You can't be biased to one team. You got to be neutral, right?
Mhm.
And So for me, on that particular day, I really don't care who wins and I don't care who loses. Preferably, I wish it was my team. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I'm in for is being having to do my job. And we were the home team, so we had the stats, we had the printer, we had taking care of ESPN, everything, the whole 9 yards, including after the game, and then getting in the car, going down to the field. That was another thing. After the game, they locked the gates.
Yeah, we almost didn't get out.
Now that's beyond my comprehension that you close the close the gate, but there are still people inside working. So that was behind my comprehension, but whatever. But we get in the car, we're driving back, and my GPS keeps telling me to take a left on this street or on that street, and it was hilarious because each street was blocked off.
Barricaded with policemen there usually to
Yeah.
make sure nobody went around.
Now I can understand in the morning because there's a parade going on. I get it, but at night, what are you doing? So yeah, we eventually got back to the hotel and then changed clothes and then try and get something to eat. At this point, I'm hangry. I'm not even gonna lie. I was
Yeah, he was worse than
hangry.
I was.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely. And so we go to this one restaurant, and the lady at the front. First of all, it took a while for her to get there. It is what it is. She comes up and she says, "Well, how many?" And she says two. And she goes, "All right, well, that'll be a 45 minute to an hour wait." For what? You got all these tables open. 45 minutes to an hour wait, and you still got tables beyond my comprehension. So then we go across the street to this lovely Mexican restaurant, and it does the same thing. We got two. It'll be 15 to 20 minutes. For what? Look at all the empty tables.
Yeah.
Right? All the and I'm telling you, I was angry. Okay, I was really angry.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I had to sit down. I had to comprehend. It took less than 15 minutes, by the way. So they sat us, and we had wonderful service. I mean, absolutely. That was 5 star
Yeah,
service
it
at
was
that
good. It
restaurant.
was worth it.
But then going back to the hotel, I got me a drink and got me a cigar, and smoked and just kind of enjoyed the last moments there in the wonderful city of Birmingham. Yes. And then, going to bed, getting up, and, one of my biggest pet peeves in this industry is
Oh my. You gonna tell this story.
absolutely, absolutely. One of my biggest pet peeves is the opponent that we play this week. All right. So we do this thing in athletic communications where we trade rosters and 2D. And we do it. It's depth chart, right? And we do it, but I don't do it at 9:49 in the morning on a Sunday, right? I wait until the afternoon to ask somebody a question, and I don't even call them, right? I send an email because, well, you're not going to get the roster on the phone, and you're not going to get it too deep on the phone. And so this gentleman called me, and we went back and forth, and I basically, I believe in professionalism, right? And I don't feel like it was professional how he came at me. And I certainly don't feel like it was professional how I came at him, obviously. But in my particular sense, I felt I was in the right in this situation. He had a 6 hour drive back home. He don't need the rosters right this second. I got an hour and a half, 2 hour drive home. I'm not going to send it right now. I ended up sending it obviously from the hotel. But the fact of the matter is this: my story was on the website the night of a game. My game notes have been on the website. The flip card is done. I don't know what the other school does. I just don't. So it is what it is. I just say keep it at that. Throw a little shade where it needs to be. It is what it is.
Wow.
Some people can handle it, some people can't. You know,
The world
I
of
mean,
communication.
I think my assistant said it best. Pressure either makes diamonds or it busts, right? some people can't handle that. So it is what it is. I think I said it like 100 times, but you know that is certainly
You
the
had
situation.
to
Again,
throw that story.
again though, when we got back, we unpacked and then we before we went to the store though, we decided to
Oh
go
my
eat.
gosh, really?
And
Okay, I guess
again,
it's a good way to end the segment where
absolutely.
you
And
started
again,
at.
in case you were wondering, leave the comment. Is it McDonald's or McDonald's? McDonald's, McDonald's. All right. That is the question of the day. Leave the comment. Give us some feedback. And again,
I'm speechless.
she is speechless. That's a first. That is a
You
first.
better enjoy it. Oh my
Anyways,
gosh.
just like everything else, we look forward to more, wonderful tales, not just of our travels, but some of the other life lessons we've learned over probably the last couple weeks. And
Right.
let it go. I probably needed that probably 5 minutes ago, but
Exactly. But you did not let that go if you're still talking about
I
it.
sure didn't. But anyway, um, but anyways, like everything else, our life is always
Worth
worth
the
the wait.
wait.
Have a wonderful time.
See you next time.
Bye, Felicia.
My gosh.